Hello, my friend, and welcome to Marketing 101, or part two of this section of our work together. In this video, in addition to keeping the two best kept secrets of marketing top of mind, I'm also going to share with you what I feel are some just basics around specifically online marketing, and talk to you about this first and really just core exercise. It's kind of a long exercise, but it's one that, from it, I feel like you could, continue to come back to again and again to add layers to how you want to reach your people, and just completely, invent anew. Again, just really want to impress on you to step into alignment before you sit down with this exercise, and really try to bring a sense of playfulness to this. You're going to have a lot more fun if you do that, trust me. And, we're just having fun here and sharing our message with the world. So here are the basics that I have to share with you around marketing. The first is really about just showing up consistently. Now, the word consistent can mean different things to different people. It's not about how much, it's just about that it is happening, right? That you are showing up in a consistent way for your people. So it's better, for example, to decide like that you're going to show up, twice a month than it is to not decide at all and just be completely haphazard about it. That being said, some would say that it's better to decide that you're going to be haphazard about it and do something else like in a more strategic way than to, again, not decide at all. So just keeping in mind in your heart that consistency is really key. And it's not always that easy. So it really is so about like deciding what feels best for you at this time. The next, sort of basics thing that I want to go over is the two avenues of social media and email marketing, that are the two kind of major main ways, right? And what just briefly their differences are and my take on them. So first, let's take social. Social media is a huge world that is constantly shifting and changing, constantly trending in what works and what doesn't, partly because social platforms are constantly changing their algorithms, their terms, and, basically their rules of engagement. It's becoming more and more of a pay-to-play situation. And so, you could spend all day being, completely up to date on that, and then, it can change. So here is what I feel is the most important to remember about social is that, first of all, you never have to be a slave to it. Again, you should decide what you're available for there. And second, that it's widely, agreed upon, I think, among people who are doing great on the online world, that when you're getting started or when you're even leveling up, um, it's best to find that one social channel and, just own it, just get to know everything you can about it, focus on it, hone in on it, try to, use as many of its features as you can to, get the word out, and just try to love it and really be with that before moving on to another. What a lot of people do is they're on like, 3 or 4 or 5 different social channels, and they're not really doing any of them well. It's not really about how many followers you have. Like, there is some psychology, of course, around seeing someone with a ton of followers, but I think as we move forward in all this social worlds, we realize that that doesn't always reflect what someone's actually making. I can attest to this, even as I myself am learning and growing for sure when it comes to social, that you can actually run a wonderful business, and it's just about the quality of your message, not the quantity, and it's about doing one channel really well, just as a general rule, before adding another. And when you feel ready, absolutely add another. Have as many as you like. Just make sure that each one has you have some connection and plan there. Also, remember that they they own this space where you are showing up, right? It's not owned by you. It's owned by the megaliths of social media. So people often ask, like, do I really need a website? And my question is definitely 100% as a web designer and copywriter, always going to be yes, yes, yes. It doesn't need to be complicated or over the top, but I do believe that a website is crucial because you own it. You own that place that you can send people and use to build your business and build your work and be your home online, that you're not renting, that you own. So that's my take on social and websites. As far as email goes, a lot of people feel that maybe like email is becoming less of a thing. And I just want to come in here and say, as one of my mentors said to me several years ago and continues to preach this, email is so far from dead. In fact, it remains, just like your website, the most intimate, secure place that you can engage with your audience. Now, again, there are no perfect right methods. I mean, there are people out there who have, for whatever reasons, owned, for example, Instagram, and maybe they don't do much at all or anything with email. There are always exceptions. However, I want to make it really clear that email can be an incredibly powerful way to stay connected with and build your tribe. So before shaking that off, just remember, you own your email list, okay? These are people who opted in to see you, and you're showing up in their own personally curated feed of mail, okay? They're not curating their Facebook feed, they're not curating their Instagram feed, but they are curating their email feed. And as you show up there with valuable content, you build trust, you build loyalty, and you build a community for real. So I want you to at least consider using email, or at the very least understand its place as something that's like really robust, very much viable, and very much alive. So those are my two thoughts on like the big stuff: social, email, and also websites. Now, the most important other thing I want to share with you about this whole marketing idea is the idea of calls to action. Calls to action are really important as you're reaching out. So this can look like asking people to answer a question, or asking them to sign up for your list, asking them to sign up for a free session. Like, you can Google calls to action and get tons of ideas. On your website, having ways for people to sign up and stay in touch with you is pretty much par for the course these days. And in your social media posts or in your emails, finding ways to engage in ways that create conversation, which is really what this video is about, creating a long-lasting, vibrant conversation with your tribe. Is really smart business, okay? And it also feels good. It's fun to be in connection with people. So just remembering those calls to action, to just thread them throughout whatever it is that you're working on in your marketing life. So the last thing I want to just touch on before I talk to you a little bit about deep conversations and how to facilitate them is the whole idea of the opt-in and the so-called sales funnel. So I personally don't really love this visual, just like the word branding, but I do understand the point of it. And I just want to break down for you exactly how it essentially works. And again, there's no rules, so you can get really creative with this, and I recommend that you do. But the quote sales funnel can be a really powerful way for you to grow your audience, okay? And therefore potentially your income and the vitality of your business. So it basically goes like this. Number one, you offer something valuable, a guide, a series of journal prompts over a certain number of days, an awesome webinar or talk, maybe even a free podcast, or set of blog posts or something like that. But it should be something that's not available on your website or elsewhere. It's just really for your e-community or the people who have signed up in this moment. What you want to think about for this valuable thing is things that solve those problems and issues and worries and concerns that your audience has, because you've done that deep empathic work of asking yourself. So going back to that work, thinking about it, and then thinking about like, what would you be excited to offer? What would be really fun for you to create? The next step in that, once you've created this little, opt-in or freebie or whatever you want to call it, is to run some really affordable ads, for example, on Facebook and Instagram, and just talking about and promoting your free thing. So we're just talking about, promoting the free thing, not your whole platform or all your offerings, just like your free guide, your free webinar, your free, gift, whatever, however you want to frame it. So you're running these ads, and the next step, either, before you launch the whole thing or during it, whenever you feel more inspired, would be to just create a series of emails, okay? So the first one is just about, the offer itself. This is where you give them the thing and you say, thanks so much, and here you go. And then you follow up a couple days later, or a day later, or 2 hours later, however you want to do it. There's a lot of opinion on this. And again, I stress there is no one right way. But the idea, yes, is that you follow up with, 1 to maybe 3 to more emails, and somewhere in there you offer something that maybe is paid, or, it could be like a low ticket item. Maybe it's, a workbook, a short workbook. Maybe it's a free session with you. This is a great way to promote free sessions. You've given something valuable. Now you've shown up and said, by the way, also, if this interests you, if this is helpful to you, here's another way to work with me, or here's another offering. And then what I recommend to you is, after you feel that this particular series is done in your heart, you end it with an open invitation to ask them to stay or go. You want to be super clear about what they're going to be getting if they stay. For example, like, you will get 1 weekly email or 1 monthly email, or you'll get promotional emails once in a while, no more than twice a month, or whatever it is. But I really encourage you to be crystal clear, because I personally, and I'm sure you can agree, don't really have the bandwidth in my life to get endless emails from someone, and never really be asked, above and beyond what I was given. I also want to say that the EU has very strict new rules about how you can collect email addresses, and even if you're not in the EU, most people are falling in line, because we see it as an ongoing global movement that ultimately protects people's privacy and rights. I am not a lawyer. I suggest, you get your things checked out by a professional. But this is something that I just think falls in line with a wonderful new approach and new set of sort of integrity around email marketing that says, I'm going to give you this free thing, and then I'm going to ask you if you want to join my bigger, more permanent list. And some people might choose to say, we want to give you this opportunity to bow out, and if not, we're going to add you to the bigger list, and this is what you'll get. Or you can just say, let us know if you want to stay. You just have to follow your own instincts. But the idea is, of a sales funnel is you give something away for free. You give people an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. You offer something to them at, a discounted rate, a special rate, or for free, like a free session. And then, you say, thank you so much, and we hope you'll stay. And that's it. That is a sales funnel. That is all it is. And you can create one and run it for a while and stop it whenever you feel like it. You could create one that's, quote, evergreen, and it just, keeps going and going. But it can be, a great way to keep growing your audience. So there's so much out there about opt-ins and sales funnels. I encourage you to, I don't mean to sound redundant, but as you, step out there into the interwebs and research things, please do stay connected to your intuition and to what's right for your work and your business. Okay. So please let me know if you have any more questions about these basics, choosing that one social platform and crushing it, thinking about the power of email marketing and how to use an opt-in, choosing your own consistency rate, but really honing in on being consistent. And, of course, again, I want to just say being yourself, getting into alignment and just being you and doing you and trusting that that will attract the people you're truly meant to serve. So as you step into the second part, or the main part of this exercise, which is called deep conversation, staying in touch every step of the way, keep all this lightly in mind. And what this is about, this exercise, the main part of it is really it's about creating a marketing plan. Now, the phrase marketing plan is like so huge that people get really scared, and it really doesn't need to be. And I just want to say that for me, it's an ever evolving process that I just kind of keep sprinkling and adding to, and maybe taking a little out of and adding into, and so forth. So it's not a hard and fast thing. It should be like a living being, the spirit of your, sharing your messageness. So try to think of it like that as you dive in. And what this exercise is going to ask of you is to think about a relationship, like creating a relationship with your people. That means that you are in touch with them in the beginning. Initially, you're creating a connection with them before they ever even consider buying from you. And I would say, regardless of whether they even ever buy from you, there's a middle point where you're now working together, the people that you are working with, or when people are engaged directly with your products or services. How do you make that experience just like so special? And you can refer back to, your innovation strategy and think about, if any of that plays out here. But it's like, what is above and beyond? What would be above and beyond to you? What would just make it so amazing and transformative for them that they're just going to sing your praises and want to work with you and stick with you for the long run, even just as a fan, And then the final, and this is so overlooked, I feel, is the end game. The next chapter is really the way to think about it. So rather than thinking of well, it's over, I gave you my product, we did our thing, you took my package, I want you to actually think about how do you stay in touch? How do you keep giving even when it's not really expected of you anymore? How do you just, continue to, hold up those people who have held you up, and there's ideas that you can think about given to you in the exercise for each of these three phases. But I encourage you to, dive in, get kind of specific about, what you want to offer up here. And I look so forward to going over this with you. This is also, a great opportunity to, use Voxer, use our spaces, our shared spaces to communicate with me and go over ideas, and also just reach out if you're struggling in any way with this big, important piece of your business, which is sharing your message with the world. Be well. Talk soon.